Okay, so I'm going to do a quick 1-year review of the Rancilio V6, and overall I've been very pleased. We went from a DeLonghi Magnifica, which is a one-touch coffee machine, and wanted to go up to a manual one, and there were so many options in terms of coffee machines, but in terms of getting good quality, professional grade espresso machine, the Rancilio is at that sort of $1,100 level, which is sort of budget entry. For us, it's worked great. So I'll tell you some positives with it, and using it with the Breville Smart Grinder Pro. So the great thing is it's simple. So you turn it on, it heats up really quickly. So in the documentation, it says like 10-15 minutes, but in reality, it's just a couple of minutes really. This one automatically shuts off. There is the other version which doesn't shut off. Not sure why you would want that one. There might be reasons, but I don't know. It's so we normally just do the grind here. The Smart Grinder Pro is pretty good. So you just set the number of the seconds. Now, obviously, if you are a real coffee nerd, then this is not perfect because it's based on grind time rather than weight. Look, I'm not that picky. Generally speaking, you get a feel for how much you need when you get whatever coffee you have. So these are the settings that work. And then once you've done that, you have to just then tamp it. I bought this from Amazon. This one comes with the Rancilio, which is a nice tamping device. Tamp it, and then you can go straight away and then lock it in. You got to do it pretty tight because we started getting some water leakage, and I just read on the internet that the problem is that this needs to have a bit more torque, so you need to push it. One downside with this, which is a minor issue but kind of annoying, is that the little things at the bottom have come off, so I had to super glue them back on. That's kind of annoying. The other thing that's annoying is that the water tank is actually really small, so I basically have to top it up every day because I'm using this thing here, which basically keeps the water soft because our area's got hard water. So on that note, there's a lot on the internet about whether or not should you actually descale the machine, and essentially if you don't have to descale, it's best not to descale it, and it's best to use a product to soften the water. If you want to know what the product is, I'm happy to forward it on, but this is the one here, Oscar 90. No, that's not it. I don't even know what that is. Maybe this is it, I don't know. It is, yeah. Oscar 90 it is. So this is the thing that I bought that online, and it lasts for 6 months. I put one in here. It takes 15 hours to work. So I've got a bottle here, which I put it to the side so that I've always got water to put in there. And hopefully I won't need to descale this machine. So far, so good. The other thing that you need to do regularly is to clean it. And I'm using Cafetto Espresso Clean. There's lots of tutorials online in terms of how to clean it. You're supposed to do it once a week. I haven't been doing it that often, but you're supposed to. Apart from that, I'll tell you one little trick. I don't actually use this milk wand at all because that will require a lot of cleaning and takes a lot of time. So one hack that we've got in our household is that we use the Sunbeam Cafe milk frother, which the top of it looks like this. And so while I'm getting the espresso ready, I just put the milk in here and then do it to the perfect 70 degrees, and it froths the milk, and it basically tastes the same as if you frothed it yourself, honestly. You can't do latte art, but who cares when you're drinking coffee every day. You can have your latte art at the cafe. The other thing, the supplemental to this, is to buy a good knock box. So I bought this knock box from Sunbeam, and it's good, it's nice and big, and so you don't have to empty it all the time. Unlike this water tank, which is way too small, which you have to fill every day. Hello, doggy. This one I got from Amazon, and I do think it's worth investing in a good, what do you call these things? Scale. This one is not waterproof, so that's kind of sucks because it's kind of got a bit of water on it, and if you think about it, it's very likely to get water splashed onto it. So far it's been working, but I have my doubts about how long it's going to last because it's got some water damage that you can see already. This one takes ages also to turn on, so this is a cheap one from Amazon for like 20 bucks. And sometimes I'm just waiting for it to sort of tear, which means that you get it to 0, you put your cup on it, then you gotta press tear, and you put it underneath there. And unlike automatic machines, you actually have to turn it off. You actually have to stop the water from coming out when you're actually making the coffee, and they can take like, so you want to get it to 30 seconds. There's an art to it, lots of videos about it online, so I won't bore you with the details, but essentially you need to get it to 30 seconds, roughly for your 30 mils, or 20 mils, 20 seconds, whatever you're trying to pull, and that gives you a nice espresso. So those are the main things, and of course get good coffee beans, for crying out loud. Don't buy them from the supermarket if you can help it. If you're desperate, which I have been sometimes, I do have to sometimes buy from the from the supermarket because I ran out of proper coffee beans. So what you need to look for at the supermarket is see if you can find, they almost never write the roasted date on the supermarket ones. This is a proper brewer in our local cafe, so local coffee brewer, and this, they actually tell you when they roasted it. At the supermarket, they'll put packed on. Sorry, they won't put packed on or roasted. They'll write expire. They'll write like sort of best until or use by date, which is pretty meaningless. Except that I figured out most of the time I think they add 6 months or 12 months onto the thing. So if you can work out if it's used by date is like within like 6 months out, then it might be a fresher bag of beans, but generally speaking, they're not fresh at the supermarket. There are some exceptions to this. Some smaller grocers do have coffee beans that are fresher. You just need to look at the roast date if they have it. So there are some with the roast date, and those are the only beans worth buying, in all honesty, if you're going to go to the supermarket if you're desperate. Otherwise, these days, you just order online. So that's the setup basically with the Rancilio Silvia V6. So I've got this, I've got the grinder. This grinder was about 250, 300 I think, and this one was about 1100. So definitely better than my DeLonghi Magnifica. And honestly, after we got this set, it beats most cafe coffees, okay? And I'm not a great coffee maker person, but I can tell good coffee because I drink coffees every day. And this thing makes amazing espressos. You don't actually need a more expensive machine. There are ones with dual boilers, which is kind of pointless if you have a Breville milk frother, because you can just froth the milk with this guy. So you don't need to dual boil anything. You just make your espresso and get on with your day. So for the price, I don't think you can beat this range. There might be cheaper models that can make just as good a coffee. I have no idea. I did have a very cheap Sunbeam one years ago, which was pretty rubbish, but also I had a rubbish grinder. But I've learned my lessons. This is a good product, and it works really well. Everything's very quality with it. We haven't had any real problems with it. Obviously maintain it and try not to descale if you don't have to, as long as you can keep it clean with this, keep it away from hard water, then I think hopefully we will live long and prosper. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to someone who, if you're trying to set up your first ever sort of good coffee setup.